I'm super excited. I'm super excited to have this opportunity for something we've been waiting for, the summit. First, I really am truly grateful and thankful for God, Heavenly Father, for blessing us to be alive today. With me on the stage is Alicia Ricketts. Please welcome to the stage. And I'm truly grateful and I'm super excited, pumped up, happy to see everybody joining.
Yes, we are excited. Very, very excited.
Yes, this is a dream come true. And we are live. Thank you to all the viewers. And one thing I'd like to say, thank you, God, for the gift of life. All of us who are here today, so many people we know are not here, but we are here. So it's exciting, it's humbling, and what a blessing. Okay. So, Alicia, how are you feeling about today before I go on?
I am feeling wonderful. What about you, Esther? How are you feeling about today?
Super excited and happy that, something that like a seed can grow more than you expected it,
Yes.
and this is the blessing about it. And I'm really humbled. And I really want to also thank Lady O, the Oak Network, See Alive, and everybody joining in because truly this is an event for us. So without us, like everybody playing their role, this wouldn't happen. So I'm truly grateful and happy for that. And at this time, I would like to to ask Alicia, what would you say? What is your expectations? What are you hoping to for the viewers to attain from this event so that we can just get the stage going?
Well, definitely, we're excited. We are looking for everybody to bring their A game to the table. We're looking to
Yes.
see what all of our wonderful, amazing entrepreneurs have to share with us today. And of course, I am honored and blessed to be given this opportunity, not only from you, Esther, but from See Alive and Oak Network, giving us this opportunity to be able to share the platform with them and bring all of this different talent together so that we can, get it on and popping. I'm excited. I'm ready to get the ball rolling. So I would just like to introduce myself, everybody. I am one of your hosts. My name is Alicia Ricketts, but of course, they call me Miss Ellie, 416 Love. And we're excited today. We're very, very excited about the summit. So I am glad, excited, happy that you guys are here joining the conversation with us. So make sure you grab a pen, grab a notepad, because we are going to have an abundance of information for you today. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's exciting. Thank you. Thank you, Ellie. And again, Esther Crenu, co-host of Ellie. We are super excited. We have so much in store for you. If you haven't seen the flyers, please do go ahead and um, see our link and take a look. We have a great lineup for you. Today is one of those days that I say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And this is the first step to see not only the changes. 2020 has been an incredible year in many ways. It's changed the way we look at life, the way we do things, and the way we get together. One of the things that is really the silver lining for me, I would say, is just that we're able to get together in a summit. And I'm sure everybody on here today would agree that it probably wouldn't be easy to get everybody in one room. However, we are doing it live together from your comfort zones. And this is exciting. Okay, this is exciting. So
Yes.
I am I'm privileged to actually co-host this event, and I'm looking forward to definitely everybody, our entrepreneurs, bringing their A game, and also for us to, be able to put the message out there and showcase what we have. It's incredible if you come think about it. You know, there's so many businesses that exist that you probably would not know about, but this is a beginning of not even knowing about this or the entrepreneurs, but just knowing the people and collaborating and looking forward to bigger and greater things. We have so much in store. I'm super excited, can't wait. I'm blown away. I'm blown away.
I hear you, Esther. I am also blown away. And I honestly can't believe how quickly the time has passed, because when we initially started this and we said that we were going to, start this summit and start reaching out to people, it just seems like rapidly the weeks were passing by. And now here we are. We are literally minutes away from our very first presenter. And it is a dynamic experience. It feels awesome. It feels wonderful and great. So again, we all have to give thanks to Esther for adhering to God's word that was planted in her to plant the seed, and then the ball just kept rolling. She planted the seed here, we started nurturing it, we brought it to life, and we could not be bringing this to life together, of course, if it was not for OPA saying yes to the Oak Network and us presenting it here for you guys, and then Sia Live, of course, and then all of the wonderful presenters who just flooded our DMs, flooded our emails with, yes, let me be a part of this event. Yes, bring me to the table. So super excited and super grateful to have everybody join the stage and show us what they've got, because we need this collaboration in our community. And we need to see this change happening. Like Opa says, be the change that you want to see in the community.
Absolutely.
This is definitely something that we're ready. We're ready, and we are excited about it.
That's exciting, Alicia. And one of my favorite quotes is this: the best way to predict the future is to create it.
Right.
And just for me, looking at everybody coming, the pieces that have come together, the individuals that have come together with their uniqueness, with their gifts, with their talent, with their ability, like from OPA to everyone who's here or everybody who is going to be presenting and our viewers, it's incredible, So we are chatting, we're writing our stories, we're writing our stories, we're creating the future that we want to see. And for our viewers, thank you for tuning in again. So one of the things we urge you to do is stay tuned and also be engaged. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, we're happy to hear from you. We're looking to bring you the best that we possibly can. And as you can see, it is a journey of 1,000 miles. It's beginning with one step today, and we're looking forward to the future when perhaps even any of you who is here is going to be like, you know what, I want to be on there. I want to present. I want to showcase what I have prepared, or my business, or who I am as a person. You could be an artist, a musician, or an author. It does not matter. But just for you to know that there's nothing impossible. To be honest, it was just a thought that just like one little, think about it as the mustard seed, something very small. And look, today we are here. I'm super excited.
Yes.
Yes.
And as Esther was saying, make sure that you communicate with us, get engaged. The chat is there. We want to hear from you. So make sure you pop your name in there. We'll be talking back and forth. And we've got tons of giveaways, right? We've got like a lot to give away. So make sure that you guys stay engaged. Pay good attention to all of our speakers. That's why we said to bring a pen and take some notes, because we'll be asking you some questions in order for you to win some of those free giveaways. Okay? Yes.
Absolutely. That's great. It's incredible. And looking forward. So with what has been said so far, Ellie, one of the things that I'm looking at as I see people coming in, it's almost like a deja vu, but it's super exciting to see everybody. And this is just, it's a sign of like, it's a sign of you can do anything you set your mind to. Anybody, I mean, you, any one of us, and just being dedicated, being passionate about things that you love and care about, I know you're in this talk show business, and when I watch you, I see how passionate you are about all the different topics that you talk about, but most importantly, bringing it out there to the light, and it's incredible. And this is something that I urge the viewers. They have talents, they have expertise, and cannot wait to hear from what everybody has to say or what they have to look forward to our next seat to the table. What would you say?
Yes, I 100% agree. We are definitely looking to make sure that this summit is something that happens on a quarterly basis. So be prepared. This is the first of many summits that we are going to be hosting. Our second summit is going to be coming to you in November. We haven't set our date yet, but look out for that date. It is coming. And as Esther was just saying, we all have a special talent. We are all created 100% unique. So whatever you are bringing to the table is yours. It is special, and we want to hear from you. We want to see that talent. We want you to be able to display that talent and shine brightly. Okay, so that is all we are doing. We're trying to make sure that everybody gets their chance to showcase so that we can collaborate with you, we can network with you, and then of course we can support you, because that is definitely what we need to spread in our community. So we are sharing, we're collaborating, networking, and we are supporting one another 100% fully. And that is what a seat at our table is about. So look out for our second summit coming in November. We're really excited. We are about to, get started with our summit. We've got a lot of commercials, a lot of infomercials. As we mentioned, we have lots of swag giveaways for you guys. So make sure that you are engaged with us in the chat. Drop your name in the chat. Tell us a little something about you, and we'll definitely shout you out right here on live. Okay?
Super exciting, super exciting. Yes, just looking at the lineup that we have, it's going to be an epic day. I'm super excited. Yeah, and just looking at everybody, I'm sure our presenters are definitely getting everything that they have. They cannot wait to be on their different segments. It's exciting and humbling, just out there to each and everybody on our live today. Just think about it. How many times have you thought of something and you say to yourself, yeah, it's just a thought? I argue one of the things that I've learned to do over the years is write down my thoughts, write down those things that come to my mind. And sometimes you may not even be able to do anything with it, but just the fact that just write it down, and at a later date or later on, you can take a look at it. And who knows, it could be a great idea that you're going to put something to work. Even just when you think about somebody, like one of the things that I love about this is the genuinity, or the being authentic self, and being genuinely interested in people. Because just thinking about Lady or Sia Live, or even Alicia here, I'm just seeing how genuine and authentic people are, and are just willing to be interested in people, see what are they all about. What do they have to say? Do they have a message that we can benefit from, or somebody else can benefit from? That in itself, it speaks a lot of volumes. So please, our viewers, super excited, get pumped up. Hey, it's gonna be a great day. We have so much in store for you. Just stay tuned. You're gonna have breaks, so please try to stay to the very end if you can. We'll be happy to, for you to be able to engage and see what we have in store for you. Do not miss it.
That's right. Yeah. So I believe right now we're about to get into some commercials and infomercials that we have from some of our lovely, lovely participants. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Thank you. See you soon.
This is brought to you by 416 Love.
Black people shall develop themselves. Migration of the people is being presented in a manner which suggests that somehow it's a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. It's as old as man, the movement of people. And it has always been linked to the same thing. The failure of where you are to provide you with opportunities. It's just that we got people who are on the official culture. We can't educate ourselves. Supposed to be judged based on a past 7 generations down the road. Not you can figure it out. Italian young people are in Italy. Irish young people are in Ireland. We want young Africans to stay in Africa.
Live commercials, Live cosmetics, bold, beautiful, and unapologetic colors from the motherland. Live cosmetics. Fountain of Life, FOL, nature's most powerful source of lignans. Taken daily, it is your commitment to a healthier lifestyle. A seat of our table is also brought to you by Aquienu. Acknowledge, enable, activate. Aquienu. A seat of our table is also brought to you by Oak Network. Planted on purpose for purpose. And finally, a seat of our table is run by the engine of SIA Live.
You are about to discover how to get out of debt, how to keep more of the money you make, and how to build wealth and live a life of your dreams. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to know that your children will grow up and live financially secure and not come back home? Yes. Financial illiteracy is a generational curse that impacts over 5 billion people around the globe. Wealth can be measured as the number of years that you can sustain your current lifestyle if your job stops today. When you get ready to retire, your income will come from work. If you didn't create enough wealth, it's likely you'll go back to work. You see it every day in the fast food restaurants and at the front doors of Walmart. I've read books, I took courses, and I listened to people who knew what they were doing. And then I created my own system. And it created wealth well beyond anything I could. This system has 5 really easy steps. One is create your roadmap, learn the wealth pattern, learn the system, and prepare yourself for success. And begin to experience the joy and peace that comes with it. Will you be the next success story? Will you be the next success story? You are about
Marriott Mobile, Tamika Marriott. Marriott Mobile, Tamika Marriott, registered massage therapist. Get in touch. Massage Therapy Redefined, dedicated to your health and well-being through caring hands. Relax, Reline, Rebuild. Soulful Image Magazine. It is a premier gospel magazine out of the Toronto area, but globally impacting. SoulfulImageMagazine.com. LB Lish Beauty Collections. Look unique and beautiful. eWave Financial Services, making an impact and changing lives. Poppy, high brand, high fashion, high quality, made by us, for us. Poppy. Get Notice, apparel, timepieces, footwear. Dream and faith make things become great.
Well, everything. Hold my hands. Hi, babe.
Hey, Mimi. So my flight arrived a little bit early.
and I'm gonna be home
Great.
soon.
Looking forward to it.
Please tell me that you did all the chores that I asked you to do.
Yup.
Did you tend to the dogs?
All taken care of.
How about the countertops? Did you wipe off the countertops?
Yes, babe.
Look, I know you have your project with your little motorcycle, but I hope there's not oil everywhere.
Right. Yeah, no. All clean. Nope. Yep.
Last time
I came home, my spa business trip was ruined, and there was oil everywhere. I just can't do it. The oil everywhere. I just can't take it anymore. You gotta do something about that. I don't want to come home and have my spa business trip ruined.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Hello. Did you just hang up on me?
Wait a minute. I have oil off. Hi, honey.
Hi. You hired a cleaning service, didn't you?
Nope. I hired oil off.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Pretty cheesy, right? Yeah, I know. Infomercials usually are. But seriously, oil off is amazing. Everyone should have it in their home. It's the first non-toxic, non-hazardous industrial cleaner that can clean everything. And it's even safe to eat. It cleans everything from automobiles, motorcycles, cement, wood, glass, carbon fiber, stucco, trains, planes, tools. It's strong enough for industrial jobs like an oil refinery. It can even rid your skin of nasty petroleum odors. And guess what? It even cleans humans.
Awake, children, awake! Let yourselves be heard. Let them hear the cries of our silent voices. Let them know we are suppressed because of society's choices. When we speak up, we are told to stop without unpleasant noises. But why can't they see that this is what's going to destroy us? We're suppressed, oppressed, shackled and chained, ignored, abhorred, and cast away. We stand alone, but we need to walk this path together. It's a long road to unity. Some believe that we will never get there, but I believe we can get there. We believe that we can get there. We need to stop hurting one another for the sake of our own welfare. Awake, children, awake. Let yourselves be heard. Let's all work together to find the solution. Rise up, young ones. Let us be the revolution.
Afric Views, in view of a new great Africa. Connect with Afric Views. This is our YouTube connection to the motherland, to the Pan-African diaspora all over. Afric Views, in view of a new great Africa. africviews.com.
Mistake Yabano, and can also your pet assassin. Your pet assassin. I don't say you sit down. And I say a better fool. Masa, and yes, I say I don't. I tell my for ya. I tell my
We have to get away from the idea that there's some Father Christmas somewhere who's going to come and develop our continent for us. There is no such Father Christmas. There is just us who are going to be able to develop our continent.
Incredible, isn't it? Super excited. Wow, you can tell what we have lined up. And that was just a sample of some of our entrepreneurs that are coming up. Okay, so super excited. I do have the privilege and opportunity to introduce a young man, Tongai Choto from AfriBlocks. And Tongai has Bachelor of Computer Science and Math. He's from the University of Zimbabwe, a co-founder and lead software developer with AfriBlocks, a pan-African marketplace where African freelancers can provide remote services to clients across the world. Former Vice Chair, Science and Technology Sector for the African Union Pan-African Diaspora Youth Association. So experiences in developing blockchain-based solutions since 2014, part of the team that received the world's first ever remittance license for a reserve bank to explicitly use the Bitcoin to send funds. I'm super excited and honored to have Tongai Choto up on the stage with me. Please, everybody, welcome Tongai.
You can get work done remotely from the comfort of your home. AfriBlocks is a global Pan-African freelance network where African professionals can find online work from across the world. Hire qualified and talented African freelancers with over 100 skills and services from developers, marketers, designers, writers, and more. You have the genius ideas that can change the world for the better, and we have the geniuses to pull it off. Visit afriblocks.com, connecting people, connecting cultures, connecting professionals.
Hello, hello.
Hi, we can hear you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the stage. This is Lady O behind the scenes, just letting you know that you are live and we can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
Sure. So yeah, first of all, I would like to, thank the team for inviting me to this very first ever conference and, giving me the opportunity to lead and to talk about the work that we're doing, which is really an amazing opportunity. So I appreciate that. And today I'm just going to talk about AfriBlocks and myself and the work that we've been doing to, try to share a story that I guarantee you that you've never heard before. So I'm going to start by talking about myself, a brief background about myself. So I'm a software developer, and that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years. Really, I went to the University of Zimbabwe and graduated 2015 doing computer science and maths. So since then, I've been in the financial technology space, and that space is the space where there's emerging technologies around blockchain, around cryptocurrencies, so smart contracts, to mention a few. So that's where I've been working, and we've managed to develop a money transfer service, and that service was based in Washington, D.C., and it allowed people to send funds to Zimbabwe using blockchain. And we actually had, one of the very first ever remittance licenses from a reserve bank. So that's the work that we've been doing. And fast forward to today, what happened was, since I was traveling a lot, going between the continent, the US and Spain, Kenya, what I started to realize is, every time you go to a conference, you reach out to someone, you're talking to someone, and as soon as you tell them that you're a software developer, what happens is, people's face lights up and say, I'm actually looking for a software developer, and I've been looking for one for a while. And So at that time I wouldn't be able to take those jobs. But when I would come here this side, what I would see is people would ask like, how can you connect us with opportunities? And to me, that became, really in the light bulb that say, what, there's a clear business model here where you connect people looking for services with the right talent on the continent. And what that does is it solves two problems, because what we have is a two-sided marketplace. We have someone on the looking for services, then we have someone looking for work, right? So what AfriBlocks is doing is connecting those two, and it solves the problem for someone who needs a service and someone who needs work, and it solves on the continent because we have had, the issues to do with youth unemployment. So AfriBlocks really came in as a no-brainer, and then I started to research, is there someone doing this? There were like very few, and I said, you know what, let me do it. And it started by, the very first person was wanted translations. They wanted to translate their book into our local indigenous languages, and I connected them with people this time, also translated, and everyone was clear what was going on. I'm getting a service, I'm paying for that service. I'm providing a service, and I'm being paid for that service. And I was connected, so the platform takes a commission for doing that to sustain the business model. So that's really how AfriBlog started. I remember I built, a website over a weekend because, people started to want to register and I didn't have things in order. But it started to gain a lot of traction, and the more I researched about it, the more I realized that this is a need. This is something that has been lacking, because when you look at Africa right now is the youngest continent in the world, with about 60% of its population of 1.5 billion people are under the age of 25. So those are the talent. Those are people who just finished university, they just finished high school, and they are now in a market where there are not enough jobs and opportunities. So what I said is, let's create a platform that connects this talent with the rest of the world. And that's really how AfriBlog started. And to this day, now we have about 1,500 freelancers registered across 7 African countries. And we've had clients from UK, Canada, USA, and we keep pushing. We just recently, because what we do is when a freelancer comes on, we actually vet them. We actually look at their skills. We actually see, look at your resume and vet and make sure that they're skilled enough so that we maintain quality. Our work is always high quality, which is something that is at our core, and turnaround and good communication. So we have had to develop, a training series for freelancers in-house. Then we have had to partner with established platforms in the market for training courses, for example, Coursera, that helped us, get talent to be able to develop their skills continuously in this global market. And one thing that I would like to point out is, if you look at the world right now, there's actually a shortage of talent. Like by the year 2030, there will be about 85 million people short of skills. The market will be looking for highly qualified and talented people and things like software development, and there'll be a shortage. So what AfriBlocks is doing right now is creating what we're calling Africa's future of work. We are building this today. We are creating these platforms because we are a technology-oriented platform. We are not, just saying hire African freelancers, but we're also saying we have the right technology, we have the right talent, we have the right people to get the job done, and we are competitive on a global and international stage. So that's what AfriBlocks is doing. We are, using technology like blockchain to solve issues to do with payments. We're using machine learning to solve issues to do with, our vetting processes on both sides, to, identify using that data that we collect around like what type of jobs are being requested, what type of payments are being requested, and we take that information using these emerging technologies, because those are the ones that will allow us to build a sustainable solution that will last from today, 10 years later, even long after we are gone. So that's really our core values, and that's really what we stand for. So our business model is really simple. You go on afriblocks.com. So that's afriblocks.com, afriblocks.com. And what you do is you can request a service. I'll send the link in the chat section. So you can simply request a service to say, I'm looking for a graphics designer. And what our team does is we have an in-house project management team that literally looks at what you need, and we get on a call with you and we identify the right person for you, because that's a value add that we added into our platform to say, sometimes a client comes on board and they're not really clear on what they're looking for. I remember we had someone who wanted a graphics designer, but really when we finished the call, we realized that they needed a web designer. So that personal touch is something that you do not have when you go on other platforms and you just have a list of profiles, and someone is saying I did React, someone is saying I did PHP, and you don't even know what that means. So what we did was we help with both sides, particularly with the client, because we realized most of the clients that we have right now are solopreneurs and small businesses, small black-owned businesses that are trying to either start or further develop what they already have. So what we do is we actually get on a call with you, with our project managers. We understand what you need, and we connect you with the right professionals that can do the job. So if it's a digital marketer, if it's a virtual assistant that you need, we connect you with that person, you review, then the job starts. And currently our payments, we do them through PayPal. Then AfriBlocks remains as a project manager until the job is done. And all payments go into an escrow account, such that the payment is only released to the freelancer after the job is complete. So what we've realized in the feedback that we've been getting from our clients is they really like that personal touch with that project management, because it's also assist, it gives value to the work that everyone will be doing. So that's really how our business model works. Once you request, the job is done, and it's simple. But I would like to point this out that freelancing is really what I call the lowest hanging fruit, because we're trying to connect professionals, and we're trying to connect Africa and the African diaspora to create a collaborative network. So what that means is, you reach a point where you say, I want to do business in Ghana. Where do I start? And you think of that software developer who built your website, and that's the person that you're going to call, because now you know how they work, their professional business quality of work, and you're now comfortable to call them and say, what, I'm looking to start a business in Ghana. I'm looking to relocate to Rwanda. How do I start? And AfriBlocks is creating those relationships. But where it starts is that business card that goes for $20, that flyer that's $50. That's where those relationships will be created on a global scale. Because what software does allow us to do is to connect. Software has really made us, this world really small. Because if you look at it right now, I'm in Harare, Zimbabwe. Some of our viewers are in US, some are in Canada, but we're able to collaborate in real time. So this is how I say, we can solve these issues to do with unemployment by using technology and connecting and, reaching out to the rest of the world and showing them the talent that we have, that you can get super high quality by simply working with our platform, which is professional, which is highly, competitive around the world. So really, that is our AfriBlocks is. I'm going to leave, a section at the end for questions and answers. If you have any questions right now, you can just type them in the comment section. So in terms of our team really is a global team. My co-founder is based in Los Angeles, Roger Roman. His background is in marketing. Then we have our advisor in New York. Then we have another advisor here in Harare, Zimbabwe. We are a US registered company. So what we're trying to do is to use the resources that we can have globally to be able to do our next steps on our roadmap. And those steps, include, that software development, that awareness, which I appreciate you for having me on this platform, because this platform also allows me to be able to share the work that we've been doing. So what I'm going to do for this section is, everyone who has an interest in what we're doing, our email is info@afriblogs.com. I see Lady O typed it in. If you email us today and for the next 10 days, we'll be able to give you a discount on any service that you request, because we appreciate you. So you can just go on our website, afriblogs.com, and request a service, and our team will be able to quickly reach out to you. So that's something else that we'll be doing this week. So I'd like to talk a bit about the solution. So, I've been talking about mostly how it works and the philosophy, but I would like to break it down into a simple, model. So let's look at this. There is this platform which is a collaborative network where people there's a two-sided marketplace. There's someone who's looking for services, and there's someone who's looking to provide services. And what we're creating is now that future of work is really what we're building. And now we're placing professional development into the platform. We're placing secure payments into the platform. We're developing a digital wallet system within the platform. What that does is, this side, in Zimbabwe, there's EcoCash. In South Africa, there's eWallet. In the US, there's Cash App. There's also PayPal. So there are a lot of payment methods. And what we're trying to do is to make that payment efficient, so that, the whole system is just efficient. You get this done and make your payment, and it's done. And the person on the other side receives a payment, because you're creating an ecosystem that is what I call Pareto efficient, that everyone in the ecosystem equally benefits from their activities in that ecosystem. So this is the breakdown, the overview of the solution that we're building, that will tap into primarily the African diaspora, which we're reaching out to right now, and secondary, the rest of the world. So I'll leave this time now for a few questions. Well, thank you. I just seen, thank you so much for such a meaningful platform. Yes, then the discounts for the next 10 days, reach out to us, and you'll be able to get a discount. On our form, there's actually a question that says, where did you hear about us? So you just state that on the conference, I sit at our table, and you'll be able to get a discount on our services. So again, our services include software development, graphics design, marketing research, writers, mobile app developers. Mentioned before, but we have 4 main categories. So all of those, you're able to reach out to us, and you get a service done professionally, and I guarantee you'll be happy with the service that you get. Okay, so I'm just looking for the questions. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the talent. I'd like to explain a bit, because that's one thing that I realized, that the media might not necessarily point out the correct picture. I'll talk about Zimbabwe, for example. Zimbabwe, we have a literacy rate of about 58%, and we're a population of about 16 million, and yet we have about 13 universities and a literacy rate of about 88%. And those are things that you look in the media and you don't get because they just don't want to say it. But we are here to educate and let you know that some things that you hear in the media are not necessarily true. Professionals on the platform are highly skilled, highly qualified, and highly talented. I see a question. Okay, so the question is what's the most common service that you offer? So the most common that we've seen this far has been website development. We've had a lot of people request website development. In our services, it takes about 7 days to get a website complete. So there's design and website development. Those have been the two that have been requested a lot. And the third has been virtual assistants. So just to get someone who can help you with, scheduling, help you with emails, help you with things like, maybe aligning your contacts and being able to send out emails, mass emails, that kind of thing. So that's virtual assistant. So the three most common have been website development, um, virtual assistants, and graphics design. And these designs include, things like illustrations and sometimes video content. So that has been the most commonly requested service on our platform. Some services, though, that have also been requested in have been software development, particularly mobile application development. People need mobile apps. We're actually working with a university in the US right now to develop a mobile app for them. So those are some of the services that have been requested. Those are the questions that are currently on the chat group. Yeah, so I'll just close off by saying that what we're trying to do really, like I mentioned, is this is more than just software development. This is more than just graphics design. This is really a global collaborative platform that we should make use of, because we actually need your help for this to become a reality. We actually have the platform up and running, people registering, we've been earning revenue, but we need to excel faster. And the only way we can do that is when we develop these communities to be able to work and collaborate together. So I see the question, please tell us what you plan about for Afriblocks in the future. Yeah, so it is still around building Africa's future of work. And like what I was saying, we really want to do more than just the freelancing work. We want to create a platform that connects professionals across the world, that connects African professionals with the global African diaspora. And some people may think that it's a small market, but it's 1.5 billion people, and that's the same size as China. So that's the market that we're currently looking to serve. So the immediate future plans are to get more clients, get our systems aligned well. Systems include, proper vetting processes, proper payment systems, and at the same time, so those are like the near future plans. But as we move to that, we want to add those payment systems into the platform. We want to add more services. We want to do development and training skills, which is some of the work that we have already started. So yeah, to close off, thank you so much for the time. This has been really great and interesting, and I look to get you all to reach out to us, even if you don't want a service today. Just make sure that you register on our platform to stay connected with our newsletter, to stay informed about what we're doing. You can also go on our social media platforms. It's Afriblocks on all social media platforms. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So follow us to be able to always know what we're working on. Register on afriblocks.com as a client or as a freelancer, so that you also stay informed. And when you ever think of something that you need done, we'll be ready to do that for you. So that would be my closing off remarks. And I thank you, the team, for having me on this seat at our table virtual conference. Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. I'm just going to play your commercial one more time.
All right.
You can get work done remotely from the comfort of your home. AfriBlocks is a global Pan-African freelance network where African professionals can find online work from across the world. Hire qualified and talented African freelancers with over 100 skills and services from developers, marketers, designers, writers, and more. You have the genius ideas that can change the world for the better, and we have the geniuses to pull it off. Visit afriblocks.com, connecting people, connecting cultures, connecting professionals. AfriBlocks is a global Pan-African freelance network where African professionals can find online work from across the world. Hire qualified and talented African freelancers with over 100 skills and services from developers, marketers, designers, writers, and more. You have the genius ideas that can change the world for the better. And we have the geniuses to pull it off. Visit afriblocks.com, connecting people, connecting cultures, connecting professionals.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tanguy. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. I'm going to put Miss Ellie back on the stage.
Thank you so much, Tanguy. That was amazing, amazing. And make sure everybody visits AfriBlocks on all social media platforms. They are doing amazing things out here, building Africa's future, connecting African professionals across the world. So we make sure that we are all supporting them and we are getting in contact. Okay, so send that email out to info@afriblocks.com and make sure that you say, if you're looking for a service, that you heard it right here on A Seat at Our Summit. A Seat at Our Table Summit, that you will be receiving a discount on behalf of your service that you're looking for, okay? So make sure you guys reach out, and Tanguy just put the link in the chat for us there. Great, great work. Thank you so much. All right, that was wonderful. Up next, we have Quentin Vercetti. Very excited to hear from him today, who is an award-winning international multidisciplinary visual storyteller, arts educator, activist, and ever-growing interstellar tree. His scholarly work explores Afrofuturism as a teaching tool and has coined the terms scankophanology and Rastafurism. Artistically, his work is imaginative, Afrocentric encyclopedias that focus on the monuments as technofossils and depicts African leaders from the past, present, and future in an Afrotopia, which is a safe space for people of African descent. Quentin Vercetti's work has been exhibited globally and has been featured in numerous publications. He's currently working on 2 books, one of which is Canada's first Afrofuturism art book, featuring 100 Black Canadians, entitled Cosmic Underground North Side, an invitation of Black Canadian speculative discourse and understandings. Vercetti is also one of the founding leaders of the Global Black Speculative Arts Movement, BSAM, and launched BSAM Canada Institute as a non-for-profit organization in 2016. So thank you very much, Quentin, for joining this day. And we definitely are looking forward to hearing all about your information today. Very excited. Thanks, Quentin.
All right. Greetings, everyone. Greetings in the name of the Most High. At this moment, I just want to quickly read a land acknowledgement from BSAM, territorial acknowledgement, actually. And it says, BSAM Canada recognizes that and is aware that the privilege it is to exist on these lands and the importance to honor the historical indigenous earth seeds and stewards of these territories since time immemorial. And their resistance, resilience, and strength in face of ongoing disposition and colonial violence that has allowed us to be here in what is currently referred to as Turtle Island, also known as North America. In our tongues, we acknowledge that we are on unceded ancient lands that we live off of and give gratitude for its continuous sustaining life. These lands were never given to settlers, but was claimed and occupied and governed by settlers today. But we acknowledge that these unceded territories and lands have been sites of over 14,000 years of human activities. Toronto is an anglicized version of the Seneca word Tekaronto, which has been translated to the meeting place of the narrows and the streams, but has also been translated as where trees grow in shallow waters, from the Seneca people also referred to as the Mohawk. BSAM Canada acknowledged that the region is the unceded territories under the stewardship of the Anishinaabe people, the Huron-Wendat and the Petun First Nation and the Haudenosaunee Nation, and the Seneca and most recently the Mississauga of New Credit. These territories are subjects of the Treaty 13 of 1805 and the Purchase of 1787 and the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant from 11142 CE, which is an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and the Confederacy of the Abishawaki and allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. BSAM Canada also acknowledges that the legacy of African ancestors, and we welcome them into this space, onto this table, who have lived and worked in solidarity with Indigenous people of these territories before and during and after colonization, including folks like Matthew DaCosta, who was one of the first documented free African persons who worked as a translator and explorer and a liaison for the European settlers and the First Nation people from 1605 to 1620, meaning before Confederation of Canada. Additionally, in accordance with the International Decade of People of African Descent and the years beyond, BSAM, the Black Speculative Arts Movement, additionally recognized the historical contributions and revolutionary acts of stolen Africans on stolen indigenous lands and histories of trauma on these lands. We also acknowledge that these territories have also been sites of chattel slavery and miseducation of indigenous people and people of African descent. On this day and every blinking right today, we acknowledge the ongoing global contribution of African, specifically Black Canadians, to Canadian society and the long legacy to these territories and to the future and beyond. Yes, greetings. So at this time, I want to quickly ask if we can play a video that speaks to everything that I just spoke about in regards to welcoming the ancestors and in regards to really, truly having a seat at our table. Look for us in the whirlwind.
Greetings. I'd like to welcome you to this auspicious occasion.
And now we have to go. And a one, and a two, and a
Our mission today is to co-host a global BSAM event that centers individual chapter accomplishments and the future of the movement, Pan-African style.
My name is AC Mensah. I am a Canadian-born first generation of Ghanaian and Togolese descent.
My name is Esther Ojulari. I am a human rights defender and activist, originally from the UK, South Africa and Nigeria, and now based in Colombia, where I accompany the struggles of Afro-Colombian organizations, mainly on the Pacific coast.
Representing Abibitumi.
Salome Mbugua, and I was actually born in Kenya, and I've been living in Ireland for the last 26 years.
There is need for us, those my Black brothers and sisters in diaspora, to come together with these different experiences.
A lot of us need to go and center ourselves within African cosmology first.
Coming back to the history books, we don't find Marcus Garvey in German history books yet.
With an energy so great that his spirit still reverberates across so many lives still to today, for him to have such a great impact that we take time out to honor him with our platform, Black Speculative Arts Movement.
Because there are African elites that call for Pan-Africanism now, but they still want to be tied into a certain type of capitalism, or necro-capitalism, which means we got to die in the service of the white elite capitalist model. When I say Afrofuturism 2.0, we're talking about a transnational Pan-African project that's going to look linguistically different, and it's going to look locally different depending on what region it is.
Even when he passed away, we will be carrying on. My book, Talking Shadow, gives us some of the ways in which we can carry on. Ashe, Ashe, thank you, Galatomi.
I always like to remind people that we in ourselves, we are the vision of our ancestors, you know? And in order to move forward, we need to continue to create visions.
And yes, Harvey used the original Afrofuturist, if you will, because that's exactly what he was doing, reconstructing African civilization, in a sense, better than before. Joe Biden now is saying, build back better. Well, that's what Garvey was saying. We're going to rebuild African civilization. He called it African redemption, but it's a rebuilding of African civilization based on the philosophy, based on the cosmology, based on the spirituality, based on the understanding of our African ancestors. He even said that there's knowledge there that we have not unearthed yet.
What you well know, look for me in a world when I was calm, look for you have great. I shall come back with countless millions of black men and women who have died in America, those who have died in the West Indies, and those who have died in Africa to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And so, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is first introduce myself as an artist, and then I want to then speak about the movement that I'm a part of called the Black Speculative Arts Movement. And then I want to close on the work that I feel like a lot of us have to do when we are talking about having a seat at our table and not forgetting what does it mean and whose table are we speaking to. So for me, art became an outlet for healing. And first of all, before I even continue, I want to give thanks for Brother Simba, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but allowed me to be at this table, to speak to the larger table at hand. And so a lot of things that I am speaking on echoes a lot of the things that he would have spoke on. And I give thanks for him and the ancestors who have allowed me to be here. And so going back to me as an artist, I started down this path of being an artist because I was experiencing a lot of trauma. I was experiencing a lot of hardship, and was trying to make sense of why did the ancestors allow me to come to this moment in time and experience this human experience. And what I mean by that is I'm recognizing that we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And so we choose when we're born. And so what does that mean is in the West African tradition of the Akan people, and even in many places around West Africa, but I'm speaking specifically about the Akan people, they have day names. And the day name is essentially not the name that your parents choose for you. It's the name that you chose for yourself because you determined when you want to come into this world. And so when you come into this world, you're given a name in accordance to the day you were born. So for example, I was born on Friday, so my name would have been Kofi. And that name doesn't only just mean the one who was born on Friday, it also has a meaning, and it speaks to the attributes that I come into this world with. So Kofis are usually strong-willed, usually creative beings, and they are often leaders. And you can probably think of a Kofi that you know in your own community who fits these attributes. And so I came into a world where I was my family were not wealthy. They were struggling, and there was a lot of violence happening around me. I experienced a lot of violence, and I was trying to make sense of everything that was happening to me, around me, and those who I see also experiencing the same things. And so this is where I got into art, where art became that tool that allowed me to introspect and look into my own spiritual experiences beyond this life and see how it connects to a larger spectrum. And this sounds very esoteric, I know, but on a tangible level, it's just realizing that the art that I was creating, the what I need to express was connected to different human spirits and different human experiences, and it was beyond my knowledge, and it was really tapping into a wealth of wisdom. And so I just want to show you some of these works that came out of my journey. And so the first art piece is called Atoms of Eve, an Evening Wing. And this idea of the spirit is like a liquid and it flows in and out. And it was inspired by Gregory Porter, a jazz singer. He has an album called Liquid Spirit. And this liquid spirit for me was the ancestors. The ancestors they move fluidly, but also recognizing that as a melanated body, my autonomy is like gold. You know, it's precious, it's valuable. And so I wanted to represent this idea through showing this idea of my value as atomic structure, that I'm constantly building myself, and the spirit of my ancestors and my own spirit is constantly flowing in and out. And so you see here, this represents an epitome in my journey where I started to learn how to drum with Amadou Kinyu, who is a drummer from Burkina Faso. And he's a master griot, and he started to teach me in the ways of the ancient griots. And essentially I got initiated and was able to become a storyteller in the ancient traditions of Djembe Folas and the griots of the Melenke kingdom and empire. And so those wings was me essentially taking flight. And for me, I felt like I was taking flight late in my life. And this idea that I was unlocking the keys, the box, this knowledge late. And so this is why it's called the Evening Wing. And I was still trying to find my second wing. So if you want to go to the next slide. And so a lot of my work, when I was trying to find that second wing of healing myself through art, I realized that art was being seen as something elitist and something exclusive and something inaccessible. When a lot of the places that our ancestors came from, art is everywhere. Art is embedded in everything. And I came across a term called technofossil. And technofossil means any man-made or any human-made, because women-made, human-made object that exists beyond one's lifetime, that carries and stores data and information. And I realized art is exactly that. Art is a technofossil. And when I came across that terminology, I realized that it was being equated to digital technology. So specifically cell phones and all these smart devices that we have now. But I was like, what are the ancient technologies that we have? What are the ancient technofossils that we have? And I realized that was art, and specifically monuments. And for me, I was looking at the monuments of ancient Kemet, of ancient Congo, of ancient Zimbabwe, of ancient Timbuktu, and how we wanted our ancestors preserved these stories in the forms of creativity and a creative expression, and embedded these values into these things, into these objects, for us to be passed down for the future generation. And so one of the things that pop up into my mind is the Sphinx, which is one of the most well-known monuments in the world, the obelisk of ancient Abyssinia, the pyramids, of course, and all these monuments have stood the test of time to the point where Europeans are still trying to figure out what these things are for, you know? And so coming from, Jamaican descent, I realized in Jamaica, especially the place in Jamaica where my family's from, in Clarendon, in the marketplace of Maypen, there's a monument of Auntie Sue, and Auntie Sue is pounding yam, and her statue is in the middle of the marketplace, and I thought it was so beautiful because it represents the value of not only the women in the society, but also food sovereignty, the marketplace itself, because Maypen is a giant market, you know, and on all the things that food represents, and also all the things that pounded yam represents, which comes from my African roots, and the fact that that's still carried on today in Jamaica, despite being disconnected from the mainland, the motherland, was astonishing to me. So that statue represented so many values and so many preserved and ancient knowledge, because when I went to Ghana in 2017, they said a household that makes fufu is a household that would never fall apart. And it's because this idea that the process to make fufu is a whole family process, you know, of cleaning the yams, of pounding the yams, cooking the yams. Everyone is involved. It's not just the woman, you know, because the man usually will pound the yam and the woman will turn the yam as the pounding will happen, or vice versa. And there's a lot of trust that has to happen there, you know. So they say the wife that is angry at her husband cannot make fufu, because if she's angry at her husband, she's gonna smash his fingers, you know, or vice versa, you know, or that the fufu is gonna be lumpy. But anyways, I'm going on a tangent here. So I got really interested in monuments, and I realized in the current Western context, we often equated monuments to colonial structures, because those are the monuments we see in this Western world. And so when I thought about the seat at our table, I realized we have to redefine who is our and what the table actually means. Can you go to the next slide? And so that previous slide, actually, what I forgot to mention was I started to see myself as something that was valued. And I started to see myself as someone who had a story, who had a message from the ancestors. Sorry, can you go back to the previous slide? I started to see myself as someone who had value and someone who had a vision from the ancestors that need to be preserved. And so I wanted to represent myself as the remix of the Goddess of Victory. We all know her as Nike, but Nike actually originally comes from the Orishas tradition. And so in the center of my chess piece, I replace the Greek goddess with Anansi the spider. And Anansi the spider represents so many different things within the cosmologies of African tradition, but specifically creativity and the giver of life, or the giver of knowledge, essentially, because we blame Anansi for a lot of the things in the world in a lot of these ancient folklore stories, you know, like how the cheetah got its spots and how the elephant got its long trunk and all these different things, how we got sorrow and all these different things. And so I wanted to connect these ancient stories. I wanted to remix and reclaim the Greek mythology back to Africa. And then also I wanted to reclaim my own story. And so that's why you see these chains spewing out my mouth. And this art piece is called Baba Garvey, Feeling Like Ezekiel. And I realized at this time in 2015, I never really represented myself, and I never knew how to represent myself in art. And so this started to make me want to investigate, again, this idea of our table, who is our, and wanted to preserve that conversation. And so behind me is a text written in Ge'ez that says, I came, I saw, I conquered. And we often equate that quote to Julius Caesar, not knowing that he actually got that quote from Imhotep. Imhotep is an ancient Kemetic philosopher who is equated to creating algebra, and who's equated to creating mathematics and a lot of ancient sciences, which inspired the Greek and inspired the Romans. So again, reclaiming. And so I wanted to give credit to where credit due, which is the ancestors. And so the first ancestor I wanted to acknowledge was Marcus Garvey, because Marcus Garvey had a vision. And likewise, I was equating myself to Marcus Garvey of having a vision. But then also the quote of feeling like Ezekiel. Ezekiel comes from from Africa. He was a prophet from Africa who traveled to the Middle East in the Bible. And he had a vision of people in dry bones, a valley of dry bones, and the dry bones came alive and animated, and they grew flesh. And this is the idea of our ancestors. And this equates back to the quote of Marcus Garvey of "Look for me in the whirlwind, where I'll come with 1,000,000 of ancestors who died across the diaspora." And so I was seeing this vision of reclaiming the ancestors and speaking their truth and speaking that truth in art, and not just telling a storyteller as an oral griot, but telling stories as a visual griot. So if you jump to the next slide. And so I wanted to preserve stories of young people, specifically young women. And I wanted to represent them as monuments existing in futuristic landscapes. And so our stories and our tables made me realize it's two ends to that table. On one end is the stories of the ancestors who the table belongs to. And those ancestors is those from the past and those yet to come. And so I wanted to honor young people because they are the ancestors yet to come. They are the ancestors of the future. If you want to jump to the next slide. And so in my process of being an artist and wanting to speak the stories of the ancestors and wanting to tell the stories of the ancestors of the past and the ancestors of the future, I realized there is a process. There's a process of ancestral manifestation that has to take place. And so the 3 terms that I want to break down to you before I go and talk about my organization and the tables that we have been setting up. And so the first term is Afrofuturism. So Afrofuturism in a really basic form, because people hear it all the time and they're like, what is that? And even though the term sounds pretty self-explanatory, I just want to break it down in a really simple form. So Afrofuturism is any imaginative creation that is inspired by African traditions, people, land, and culture. And this often relates to science fiction, fantasy, or horror, because all these things deals with the imagination. So the next term in Afrofuturism is Sankophonology. And Sankophonology comes from the term Sankofa, which come from, again, the Akan people, which is present-day Ashanti people. And the term means it is not taboo to go and fetch what you have forgotten. And there's 2 symbols to the idea of Sankofa. One is a bird with an egg in its mouth, and it's reaching back for the egg. And the other one is a heart shape, which you see on the chest of that monument. And the bird means the physical, going back to the past and getting what you forgot. So learning from the past to inform the present to make a better future. And then the other one is learning from the internal, the spiritual past. So that's where you see the spiral of the heart going inwards, and then the spiral is outwards. So you're learning from the internal spirit, and you're making that into physical action, or you're manifesting it into physical world. So Sankophonology was a term that I got from the ancestors and the elders in Ghana, in Rima. And if anyone knows Ghana, they know Rima is no joke. You know, it's a disenfranchised place in Ghana that has a place called Judgment Yard. And I was there for New Year's, 2017 into 2018. And I was reasoning with the elders, and they said to me, you know, it's good that you're pursuing your education, young man. But the thing that has come to us is that you need to also pursue and encourage other people to pursue the education of learning about Africa and African ancestors. So learning about their past, and that should be a practice. That should be studied in schools, just like you study biology, just like you study genealogy, just like you study any of these other things. And so Sankophonology is a practice and the exercise of Sankofa, you know, of connecting the past, present, and future. And so this relates to Afrofuturism because it collapses time, because Afrofuturism builds on the past. So it's important to recognize that we are not separated from our ancestors. We are not separated from the past that we have come from. And so the next term is Imagineering. And so Imagineering is basically being able to imagine and engineer. And so all these three terms relate to the process of ancestral manifestation because we need to be able to imagine change. We need to be able to imagine something being possible. And so this is something that relates in all aspects of our existence as African people. We always imagine more for ourselves. We always imagine and was inspired to do more. And art, the basis of art is imagination. The basis of creating a table is imagination. Someone imagined something with 4 legs or 1 leg or having a stand and then sitting there and then us being able to put things on that thing, and that's imagination. And so the next step to imagining it is naming it. Someone at one point in time said, this thing that I'm creating is now going to be called a table. And that's how language works. We imagine language. Language is constructed. And so the next thing is investing in it. And once we invest in it, then we can share it and ask other people to invest in it and allow it to grow. And so this is the process of ancestral manifestation. And so how does this relate all to what I need to talk about? So this is going to be the second last slide. Go ahead. And so BSAM, the Black Speculative Arts Movement, is an organization that I helped to find. And one of the things that we realized is that we need to tell our own stories. And in order to do that, we focus on partnerships, programs, and projects. And one of the biggest partnership projects and programs that we wanted to initiate was having a book, preserving and documenting. And so the first book that we wanted to put out was, I'm going to show you in a bit, actually, when we come off camera. It's called the Black Speculative Arts Movement, and we wanted to make sure we document the arts movement. But then we wanted to tell the story specifically from a Canadian standpoint, because Afrofuturism from a Canadian standpoint is really interesting because, yes, we are on Indigenous land and stolen land, and we are stolen people. And so what does it mean to coexist on someone else's territory? And so the Cosmic Underground Northside is recognizing that unless we focus on the tables that were there before we got here, then how can we truly establish our own sovereign table here? But more importantly, how do we connect that sovereign table that we're creating here to the tables that exist back on the continent of Africa? And so that's what this book is about, and it should be available in fall of 2020. If you want to go to the next slide. And so the Black Speculative Arts Movement really wanted to, this year, focus on connecting back to Marcus Garvey, focus on connecting back to the elders of the past, like Walter Rodney, C.L.R. James, and those who were thinking about Pan-Africanism, and preserving these stories and telling these stories on so many different levels. And so I was really honored that by tapping into the process of the ancestral manifestation, imagining, naming, investing, and in sharing, I was granted the opportunity to now create the first, what is going to be the first Black monument in Toronto. And this came from years of hard work, but it came from also acknowledging the works of our ancestors. And so this, what you're looking at, is a Joshua Glover concept, which won the competition of the City of Toronto and is going to be erected in 2021, next year. And the reason I wanted to share that with you is because we are no longer, through my organization, we are no longer waiting for people to acknowledge us to tell our stories. Because right now the ancestors are moving at a rate that it cannot be ignored. And so Joshua Glover was an interesting story, and we can just end the slides here, or is there another one after this?
No, this is it.
Okay, beautiful. We can end the slide here. And so Joshua Glover's story is a story of imagining that he can be free. He's a runaway slave or runaway enslaved person from the United States, and he came here to Canada in the late 1800s. And so first of all, his ancestral manifestation was he imagined that he was not a slave. He was not a nigger, right? Which is not a bad word. It comes from Niger, right? Because a lot of people who were taken from slavery came from the Niger Delta. And so the Americans got it twisted. And anyways, you can Google it. But Joshua Glover imagined that he was not a slave. and realized he was enslaved. He imagined he was free and that just like his ancestors, he deserved to be free. Then he named it. What does that freedom look like? From he named it, then he was able to invest in it. He ran away from his slave master. He got caught in Wisconsin, but he never gave up that spirit because he invested in it. And he realized there's a saying from the dead poets is blessed are those who struggle. Oppression is worse than the grave. Better to die for a noble cause than to live and die as a slave. And he realized death was not the end, right? Which is the truth that our ancestors spoke for so many centuries. And so the idea of look for us in the whirlwind is recognizing that it's better to die for a noble cause than to live and die as a slave. Right now, our table is letting us realize that we are all free people and we have the tools. We were born with the tools and we have the accessible tools amongst us through projects, programs, and partnerships to free ourselves and to create a table where we can invest in each other and to use our creativity and our imagination to create the change that we want to see on so many levels. And I know this might sound really airy to people in the sense of like, okay, how do we do that? And there's so many steps. You can start partnering with a lot of these people in this event, reach out to them, find out what the projects and programs that they are doing, and see how you can support them. You know, one of the biggest things that we wanted to do for Marcus Garvey Day was start a conversation amongst Pan-Africanists and Afrofuturists around the world. And by doing that, we wanted to start a conversation of collaboration. And by having that conversation of collaboration and having a conversation of learning about what people are doing around the world, then we can start creating partnerships. And so the seat at our table is recognizing that partnerships is the most important thing to move forward. And I want to thank you for this time, and thank you for your energy, and thank you everyone for listening to me and for allowing me to have a seat at the table.
Awesome. Thank you. Esther?
I'm not hearing Esther.
Yeah, just unmute from there.
Esther, we're still not hearing you.
I know, we still can't hear you, Esther. While Esther get her microphone connected, Quentin, thank you so much for this. I appreciate you coming and sharing at the table what you do. And when are we to look out for that monument?
Yeah, for 2021.
2021. Awesome.
We don't have an exact date as yet because, you know, COVID and all the madness in the world has delayed things.
Right. Okay, hold on. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much, Quentin, for joining us. You are definitely a great storyteller, and we cannot wait to support you for that monument that's coming up next year. So make sure you let us know all about it, and we will definitely, we'll be there. We will be there. So thank you. All right. Up next, we have Nicole Salmon, the Purpose Coach. Thank you so much for joining us, Nicole. Nicole is accredited minister of 12 years and serves as an associate minister at Praise Cathedral Worship Center in Mississauga. As Purpose Coach, she works with women to gain in-depth insight in who they are so that they can live their lives with clarity, consistency, and confidence. Before stepping into full-time purpose and launching her own coaching firm, she worked in the non-for-profit sector for over 20 years, specifically with organizations serving communities experiencing marginalization. She is a 3-time author, certified life coach, personality dimensions level 3 trainer, plus holds a bachelor in Christian ministry, post-certification in adult education and cognitive behavior therapy. She also is the founder and host of Preach Sis, an international movement and event for female Christian communicators. She has a family and they are her first ministry. She is a proud mother of 4, a merging blended family of 6. Together with her husband, Evan, she lives a full and exciting life in Brampton, Ontario. So thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us. And we're excited to hear all about changing in our today's atmosphere with what's going on with our global pandemic. All right, go ahead.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I am hearing a little bit of feedback. Are you hearing that on your end too? You know what? Prevention is better than cure, they say, right? So there we go. Okay. So you heard the very lengthy introduction. My name again is Nicole Salmon, and I am a minister and the purpose coach. And so what I do in my work is I journey with women one-to-one to help them to demystify what purpose is so that they can reacquaint themselves with who they are at their core, with their DNA, their divine natural abilities, so that they can show up in the world with clarity, with confidence, and with consistency. And so one of the things that's near and dear to my heart is planning. One of the mantras that I live by fiercely is that you can with a plan. So I want to talk to us a little bit this morning about how do you plan during a pandemic? How do you plan during times of uncertainty? And so our brother who just shared, he set this up real good for me because he talked quite a bit about the power of naming a thing. And so the first declaration that I want to make for us this morning in this space is that 2020 is not canceled. All right. I'm going to say that again for the folks in the back. 2020 is not canceled. All right. And so we have to be careful what we say with our words. I know that this pandemic came out of nowhere for us. And a lot of the plans that we went into the new year with, it feels like they got hijacked and completely thrown off and derailed. But I want to give you 3 tips that you can implement even right now as you come out of this event today to start to make a purpose-driven plan during the pandemic. All right. Now, the average person does more, believe it or not, in the last quarter of the year. So that's October to December than any other time in the year. That's what statistics show us. If you're a business owner, most businesses produce most of their money during the last quarter. And so if you feel like if you've been snoozing on 2020 because of the quarantine, don't worry, all is not lost. We are about to enter the last lap. And there's still an opportunity to reap what was in your heart when you started with the beginning of the year. And listen, even if you disagree with me and you've written off 2020, you cannot reap in 2021 what you didn't sow in 2020. All right. If you're waiting for next year to kind of be like, you know what, I'm just going to forget about 2020 and hit the reset button and start next year, you cannot reap in 2021 what you don't reap right here, right now in 2020. All right. So over a decade ago, I ended up in the hospital. I was in the emergency room. I was at work. I was doing a performance review with one of my staff, and I started feeling this, well, actually from the morning, I was feeling this pain in my chest. Fast forward to the end of the day at work, somebody noticed. The ambulance ended up being called because they thought I was having a heart attack or some type of cardiac arrest. Thankfully, after many hours in the ER and many tests, I was okay. But the doctor did say something very important to me. And he said that you're fine, But if you don't change your lifestyle, he's like, this was just the dress rehearsal. Your body was just basically preempting itself for the final show. And so I took that call to action very seriously. And since that day, I've become a very fierce steward of my time. And you can see all of these things behind me. They are not decorative. They are essential tools to helping me live a purpose-driven life. And I want to share those tools and those lessons with you today. Before I jump into those tips, I want to say we're in a pandemic, or not just a pandemic, but times of uncertainty. Do not throw everything out the window. Perhaps you've heard the saying, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. One of the biggest threats to living a purpose-driven life is scarcity. Scarcity, all right? If you're taking notes, I want you to write that down. What do I mean by scarcity? If you're a Bible reader, or whether or not, most of you are probably familiar with the story of the children of Israel in the wilderness. They escaped from severe slavery and treatment in Egypt, and finally they're free. And so after they now enter into the wilderness, they enter into a season of scarcity where they don't have some of the things that they had in Egypt. And so what scarcity does is it causes us to deviate from our original plan. And so they were hungry and they were sick and tired of the food they were eating there. So God said, you know what? I'm going to provide manna and quail. But he's like, but here's the 411. Only take what you need for the day. But what happened is, because they had been in a season of scarcity, they didn't listen to those instructions and they started doing a mad grab. They took more than what they needed, and they found themselves doing things that they should not be doing. And the extra actually spoiled. So what's the moral of the story? What do we take from that? Scarcity has a way of throwing us into a panic. It has a way of causing us to deviate from our purpose-driven intentions and doing these mad grasps at things that we have no business doing. And so when we step outside of divine alignment and divine purpose alignment, we'll find that those things do not prosper. And so again, I say, whatever your goals were, whatever your purpose-driven vision was, plans were, maybe you were going to write a book, maybe you were going to launch a business, whatever it was that maybe you're going to lose weight, whatever it is, I want to say, don't let scarcity, don't let the pandemic, don't let times of uncertainty pull you out of alignment and have you putting your hands to things that you have no business doing. So here's the first tip that I want to share with you this morning on creating a purpose-driven plan during times of uncertainty. Go back to basics. You want to keep the main thing, the main thing. Whenever we find ourselves in times of uncertainty, what we're really saying is we're in a time where our footing and our foundation is not sure. So it seems really nonsensical to say, I'm going to make a plan and set a date to an event or a business launch or a book launch when I have no idea when the world is going to open up, or I can't predict what's going to happen in a few months. Can I tell you that we actually live every day in times of uncertainty? The pandemic has made that uncertainty a bit more obvious to us. So I think that we had been living in a false security leading up to the pandemic, but really no time is guaranteed to us. No outcome is guaranteed to us. So every day that we're planning, every day that we're living really is uncertain and borrowed time. And so especially when you've experienced life changes that have you questioning what to do next, you want to skim down and go back to basics. Keep the main thing the main thing. So let me give you some examples of that. Let's say your goal was to write a book this year. And you're like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to bother with my book launch. I'm not going to bother with completing the project this year because the pandemic has completely thrown me off. Going back to the main thing really means identifying what was the virtue, the value, or the principle behind the goal that you originally set. So for example, maybe your goal was, I want to write a book. what was the virtue or the value or the principle in you publishing that book? You had a story you wanted to share. So how can you still honor that value, that virtue, that principle, and find other micro ways to share your message? Even if you do decide to still write the book, is there an opportunity for you to go virtual? Is there an opportunity for you to host a more intimate event? Is there an opportunity to create a blog? Is there an opportunity for you to still leak it? Is there an opportunity for you to just go live and pull up a seat at the table like something today and still share your message? Keep the main thing the main thing. Maybe you had an event on the docket for this year, like myself. You heard about my annual event, Preach Sis. It's venues. We're looking at venues. Dates were in place, but then the quarantine hit. Well, what's the main thing? What's the virtue? What's the value? What's the principle? To create community. And so it's an opportunity to pivot. I know we're probably exhausted from hearing that word, but to reimagine then how you can still honor that value and create community in another way. Maybe for you, you had travel. What was the value? You wanted rest, perhaps. Are there other ways that you can still honor that and achieve that without taking the goal completely off the calendar? All right. So that's tip number 1. Keep the main thing the main thing. Here's the second tip that I want to give with you for planning during times of uncertainty. Scale back. Okay, I am giving you permission. Better yet, give yourself permission this morning to scale back. I know that if you are on social media, it is not the social narrative right now. We are surrounded by a social construct and a social narrative of kind of go big and go home, hustle hard, right? We see all of these posts, especially as women. I know it's not just women on here, but sis is drinking water and sis is moisturizing her skin and sis is also losing her eyebrows. Sis is also stressed out. Sis also has high blood pressure because sometimes sis and bro